Well, yeah, for anyone watching this on YouTube, this is the bonus lore episode for Doom. Unfortunately, I have not got all of the lore. I checked. I thought I had a completed playthrough on this Xbox. I do not. I have a completed playthrough on my old Xbox. So some lore is missing, which is unfortunate, but there's not much to do about it. This is it's a joke bonus episode for the playthrough. So hopefully people don't get too annoyed that I haven't got all the lore for Doom, and we're not going to cover like all of it today anyway. Oh my god, that Doom soundtrack going so hard. Fucking love that shit. And I kept joking that it's an ASMR episode. It's not. I don't have the voice or the microphone or the setup to do that, but I just figured the lore in Doom 2016 is really fucking cool. And I really want to just explore it a bit more and let people just hear it if they don't know about it. Because the thing that I love about the Doom lore is that it's written from two perspectives. And those perspectives are UAC scientists exploring hell for the first time. So it's written from the perspective of scientists who are treating hell as a new frontier for humanity to explore. And it's written in this very clinical, like very matter-of-fact way that is humorous, but also kind of endearing, because it treats these like horrible monstrosities born out of like absolute distilled chaos like scientific curiosities. And then some of them are written from the perspective of demons in hell. Like the lore about Doom Guy himself, which is like written by demons, and like, this dude's a fucking monster, we need to run away from him, he's super OP and tough to kill, don't mess with Doom Guy. And that's a tone that is, one, I think very difficult to like perfect and to like straddle the line between silly and like over the top, while also like maintaining like some level of credibility and seriousness about it. And Doom 2016 just handles it flawlessly, whereas Doom Eternal did not, and they kind of did it a bit more tongue-in-cheek, which I felt made it fall a little flat. But without further ado, we'll start at the beginning, I guess. So this is essentially just like a wiki weekends where it's just me reading it out and none of the jokes. I'm not sure why people wanted me to do this live, but I'm doing it live on Twitch as well, so I may stop for people watching it after the fact on YouTube to answer chat or talk to chat. But yeah, let's go through the lore. So we have here, the Resource Operations Center, referred to as ResOps, was one of the first faculties constructed at the Mars base. After the discovery of the Archen fracture, it encompasses several key areas needed to run the facility, including plasma extraction and processing, isotope stabilization, heavy metal and ore mining, artifact analysis, communications networking, and off-world transportation. New UAC employees posted to Mars facilities are expected to fulfill a tour of duty in ResOps before moving on to their specialized career bracket. Security Clearance Personnel 1, or Security Clearance Level 1, allows access to all areas of ResOps, excluding the Vega networking hubs and some satellite control centers. For access to these locations, advocates must submit a Delta Q Delta form to the Department Enforcer. And like, that sounds really, really boring, and it is. And the annoying thing is, if you go to this one, then they write like the secret shit you're not supposed to know. So hopefully there's some... here we go. Get that. So we'll go to the Foundry now. The Foundry is an extension of the Resource Operations, the first Mars outpost. Processes all of the heavy elements mined from the outlying Martian landscape and from around the original location of the Argent fracture. So people don't know, Doom is set on Mars. And sometimes it's also set on the twin moons of Mars, Phobos and Deimos. But refining Argent plasma requires a large amount of transitional metals and noble gases. So a central location that can be systematically cleansed and decontaminated is required to keep Arjun Energy production at maximum efficiency. As such, this area is considered a high-risk area, and all UAC employees are subject to regular med checks to ensure their production capabilities are not degraded by the environment. Industrial accident-related deaths in the Foundry dropped dramatically in MTC 2146 thanks to the implementation of new UAC safety protocols, where employees exposed to dangerous materials are immediately sent to the Lazarus labs for cleansing, re-education, and where possible, reintegration. That's where you see this shit is getting dire. When they say re-education and cleansing. As a result of this protocol, officially reported deaths have dropped to negligible amounts. And then we go on to the second entry for the Foundry. And this is like the other way these things are written, where it's from the perspective of people who've like been won over by hell. And it's like, oh, here's the official thing that you get when you come here as an employee. Here's the stuff it's basically Scientology. So have you reached like a high enough level Okay, so here's the real shit that's going on. So congratulations, new advocate. If you're reading this message, you'll be promoted to the Foundry resource team. If you were volunteered for this service, you are joining an elite band of Tier 1 advocates whose work and dedication keeps our mission running on all cylinders. As a member of Foundry Resources, you will have access to some of the most advanced equipment the UAC has to offer, including grip-ton cargo handlers, Delta V jump boots, and Dino phasing elevators. New members might want to consider applying for an exclusive team tattoo upon joining as a sign of faith to our science. Team tattoos are a mark of your tireless work at the UAC and can be requested by signing up for any of the Lazarus Wave case studies. Please contact a Tier 3 Advanced Weaponry Technician to fill in your application for a pentagram brand today. And that's what I love just how clinical this is written. It reads like a Scientology dossier. Oh yeah, hey, cool. Now you've joined, demons. Then we have the Archen facility. The surface of Mars is an inhospitable environment despite the breathable atmosphere created by the N2O2 pumping station. Sandstorms regularly make working outside impractical, and constant maintenance is necessary to keep the facility fully operational. During adverse weather conditions, exterior work is limited to essential activities such as Archen Tower feed controls, interdepartmental transport, cargo handling, emergency access, and level 2 hazard events such as Argent meltdowns and bioepidemics. Look at that. I love how they take an epidemic more seriously in the world of Doom, where they seriously considered opening a portal to hell as a satisfactory way to make energy for people back on Earth. Untethered cross-dimensional activity is a frequent occurrence outside of the base, so buddying up is advised for all workers when journeying onto the surface. So I wonder what the people learn, they learn the real shit. At times, Tier 1 and Tier 2 advocates will be asked to perform dangerous duties that include exterior work. This work may be put before you as punishment for not meeting your quota or because you are the best person to complete the job. In either case, new advocates should approach the work with the same focus and commitment as any other task. Should you experience any interdimensional encounters, you are advised to report the event to a Tier 3 Lazarus Project scientist or your departmental enforcer. You are advised not to approach any non-human entities without executive supervision. Now let's get to the real shit. Should you find yourself caught in a Level 3 demon contamination event, it is important that you remain calm. A Tier 3 advocate wouldn't panic, and neither should you. We have a saying here in the Lazarus Labs: if you want the job, act as if. So stop, think, and act as if you are Tier 3. Here are the steps you should follow. Attempt to reach an emergency force field safety zone or bulkhead door. Do not run, as some of our trans-dimensional visitors are sensitive to movement. Shut down any volatile equipment you may be using. Should you be unable to escape from the demons, it is important that you don't leave that plasma cutting running, where it could damage an important piece of machinery. 3. If there is no obvious escape route and you have powered down your equipment, give yourself over to the demon willingly. Studies have shown that infuriating a demon by running away can cause additional frustration in the predator, and that may result in your body being too badly mutilated for useful post-mortem study. Simply kneel down, close your eyes, and wait. Remember, you can be as useful in death as you are in life. And this is where you know, like, future Jeff Bezos writ that. Future Jeff Bezos writ that down. Like, hello, future Amazon employee. Remember, before you flee for your life, shut down all your equipment. So the company does not endure any unnecessary losses to profit. Arjun Energy Tower. Completed in 2127 based on a prototype developed by Samuel Hayden's research team, the Argent Tower, also known as the Argent Inductor, is the UAC's crowning achievement. This unparalleled piece of technology is born of the synergy achieved when radical forward-thinking UAC science is charged with the raw power of Argent plasma. Unprecedented in scale, the tower's primary purpose is to harness Argent plasma from the fracture and convert it into usable Argent energy, and beam Argent packages to Earth's GEDM, Global Energy Distribution Matrix. It is based off the Gauss Cannon designs, first prototyped in the late 20th century. Although details regarding the inner workings of the tower are closely guarded as secret, the concept of using a Gauss Cannon designed to launch energy packets had not yet even been theorized prior to the discovery of the fracture, but the technology developed at a miraculous rate soon thereafter. The phenomenal growth of this new technology has led to some speculation that the Argent Tower is actually based off of a design discovered in the artifacts that were found dispersed around the site of the fracture. And you know what? Let's find out. As a Tier 2 advocate, you have already proven you are dedicated yourself to the UAC's mission. The Argent Tower is a monument to that dedication. It is the centre of our universe. It is the triumphal arch. It is the gate that marks the path to our future. As such, it must be cared for with reverence and devotion, as if it were your own child. It is up to you, Tier 2 advocate, to make sure that our altar to the future functions perfectly at all times. Whether your job is to clean the energy filters or calculate the plasmatic isotope mix, or just to oil the hinges on the blast doors, approach your work as a professional, as a follower, and as a hero to the cause of science. Unlike everything else in your life, your work here matters. And it's stuff like that when you think, this is how they got people, this is how they got people hooked. It doesn't matter if you're oiling the hinges to the door or you're the guy who invented it. You matter and you're important as long as you give yourself over completely to UAC. And remember, from within it flows the power, and the power must always flow. You have been warned. Now move on to hell itself. So we have here the Candingia Sanctum. The Blood Keep. If it's called the Blood Keep, just fucking leave. Just leave. Also referred to as the Candingia Sanctum, is a sprawling network of tunnels, catacombs and temples that connect the wasteland umbral plains to the Great Steppe. It is believed that this area serves as a place of worship and vilification, as both hero and enemy can be found buried in tombs throughout this region. The area is inhabited by all manner of demons, including the possessed, the unwilling, lost souls, hell knights and other non-classified creatures. The Project Lazarus manned expedition uncovered one tomb of particular interest. The temple was adorned with powerful holding runes and unique relics. Despite the complete loss of human life in the expedition, the relics were successfully returned by scout bots to the Lazarus labs for processing and study. And you can probably guess who's in that tomb. It's fucking Doom Guy. So here we go. As a Tier 2 advocate, you have access to privileged information that will help you understand the UAC's mission and purpose, and how you fit into the new future. You'll be privy to a deeper understand of our symbiotic connection to Argent plasma, and to how harnessing and using it is more than just good fortune, it's good sense. I love that it's written so fucking clear. I love it. It's not just good fortune, it's good sense. Like, you could tell like a fucking businessman wrote this shit. You will also no doubt start discussing some of the more sensitive subject matters that we Tier 2 advocates mull over. One conversation that is often heard around the Argent Tower is, what's happened to Samuel Hayden? As you know, our venerable leader designed the original Argent Tower, and during its construction, his mortal body was consumed by a devastating cancer. More on that in a moment. Despite this, Samuel did not give up, and used the power of Argent Energy to create a new, more powerful body for himself. Samuel was still Samuel, but he became so much more. While it can be disconcerting to see Samuel now, remember that Samuel never gets sick, never tires, and is never afraid. And what do we have to thank for that? Arjun Energy, of course. Do you want to be like Samuel? Set your sights on becoming a Tier 3 advocate. Tier 3 is where the secret power within you is revealed. And it's shit like that. Again, you can see how people fell for this. If you saw your boss riddled with cancer, super future cancer, and then the next day he rocks up as a 9-foot tall robot with like the rumbler attached where his dick should be, and everyone there like, oh my god, you're awesome. And someone tells you, you can be like that. You can live forever as a cool robot if you like work harder. You'd fucking work harder. So now we have the Advanced Research Complex, and I don't even have the original. I've only got the Advocates information. So welcome, Tier 3 Advocates. You have elevated yourself to the next level of thinking. Your previous notions have been cleansed by science, and you see things now as they truly are. The true power of Arjun Energy under the stewardship of UAC will drive us into the next age of mankind. No more secrets, no more hiding. Your journey towards the final tier begins now. Our understanding of pan-dimensional existence grows each day. As we begin to realise the true power that flows from hell, we are charged into something much greater than we ever thought possible. Your life as a Tier 3 advocate is more than just the work you perform. Spiritual understanding of who you are and what we are meant to become grows with each artifact you catalogue, each weapon you prototype, and each heretic you convert. The fear of hell is seen for what it really is. False emotions appearing real. You have opened your mind. I fucking love this game so much. And I don't have the original thing for the Lazarus Labs either, so we just straight into the disciple text. So this is Lazarus Labs. A fellow disciple, this message has been sent to you in recognition of your service to the Lazarus Project. I am Olivia Pierce. You have been granted the highest level of clearance we allow at the Lazarus Project, and as such you are expected to partake in all rituals, sacrifices, and vivisection programs of both human and demon as requested. Whether as a practitioner of the dark arts or as a patient of a cleansing, as we work tirelessly to open the gates to hell. Remember our mantra, the science will cleanse us. Our recent expedition to the Great Step resulted in the retrieval of new tablets, which will help us further decode the Helix Stone. I must reiterate again the importance of fully decoding this stone. The scriptures tell us that it holds the key to both realizing our future and destroying us. So we must now know it before the enemy. The enemy will come, and we must be ready. While we are decoding the latest artifacts and relics, there will be no rest, no leave, and no sleep. We must succeed. Our lives mean nothing. Opening the gate is everything. And Olivia Pierce drank that Kool-Aid hard. She was double fist shotgunning that demonic Kool-Aid. She was all fucking in. Now we move on to the Titan's Realm. After the disastrous Project Lazarus manned expedition, it was decided to avoid Kadingir Sanctum until the environment was more conducive to human exploration. The second Project Lazarus manned expedition was changed to a new location, an area referred to as the Great Step. The Korax tablet describes this area in detail. And this is a quote from the Demons, which is fucking awesome. So pads and pencils at the ready for all of your free band names. Through the Titan's Realm and down to the Great Step, where the trophies of Victor are kept through the ages, their false idols banished to a wasteland, their towers fallen, their foundations ground to dust, their hallowed halls kept empty as cruel reminders that civilizations shall fall before the ascension of the Great Ones. And it's just so metal. And I love this as well, because it's just called a pilgrimage if you're an advocate. If you are one of the lucky disciples who will get to experience a pilgrimage to hell, leave. Leave. If you get a letter like this in the post from your job, leave. If Jeff Bezos starts talking about a pilgrimage to hell, just leave. There are some preparations you must make for your journey. You must make sure all of your affairs are in order before leaving. Donate all of your belongings, excluding any security controlled materials, to a Tier 2 advocate and record any final logs you may wish to make. Your savings and assets will be used to fund additional UAC research. For the expedition itself, you may wish to consider sedation. Advocates can get overwhelmed during their transition, and a medically induced administrated balancing agent can help ease the excitement. Lastly, prepare your mind for the wonders you will experience. Seeing the remains of a Titan is an experience that will buckle the knees of the most steadfast advocate. If you are lucky, you may even get to see a live Titan. If you do, you must record the sighting immediately and hand the storage device to a scout bot for safety. It is not known if any Titans still inhabit the Great Steps. If you have the chance to be sacrificed to one of these massive beasts, take it. Like, they are legit telling people, if you see a giant fuck-off demon, run towards it. Like, don't run. Don't, like, run towards it and sacrifice yourself for science, because that shit will be awesome. And I've got to be honest, I've said, like, I'd ignore it, like, but if someone gave me the option of, do you want to be the first person in human history to fist fight a 800-foot tall demon, I might take it just to have that on my tombstone. So now we have the Vega Central Processing Center. The internal operating temperatures of Vega's plasma-based neural net are high, extremely high. Early tests of Vega's protoplasmic circuitry show temperatures exceeding 1.2 megakelvins, hotter than the surface of the sun. To contain this level of heat, a massive supercooled structure needs to be built to house Vega's miles of circuitry and millions of processing centers. The structure was built away from the Archen facility to ensure that Vega's secrets remain safe from prying eyes. Access to Vega's polar core is strictly controlled. Vega's design is so complex that to study its inner working has been given its own field of study, Vega core physics. So this is like Samuel Hayden's gaming rig that is so advanced that it needs like a new form of science to explain how it works. And I bet it still couldn't run like Doom effectively. I bet Doom 2016 still fucking stutters on it. So that's environments. And what's in the database? We should probably do these. So this is where the fun stuff begins. Because we have like the database, and like this is one of the reasons I adore the lore in this game. Because it's all written from the perspective of just like a researcher who's like, yeah, I'm just going to tell you how this shit works. And it's real fun. So we have here the Delta 5 jump boots. First developed on the Phobos outpost to facilitate extremely fast navigation. That's so good. Through microgravity, Delta V jump boots are now used at all cargo stations, transport hubs, and maintenance depots to facilitate agile traversal with speed and ease. With exponential growth of the USC production at Archen facility, it became necessary to find an alternative to the overworked and overloaded ferry drones. When worn, Delta V jump boots detect Myoelectric signals in the legs so that when the user begins to jump, a short burst of Arjun Energy is forced through a booster nozzle on the sole of the boots, and a fully assisted jump is performed. With enough angular momentum, a second jump can sometimes be performed. Vast distances can quickly be covered when used correctly, and caution should be exercised when performing EFN maneuvers around vertical drops or overhead obstacles. And that's one of the reasons I adore. Like, this is what made me fall in love with this game, because they explain how the double jump works, and the fact that they explain how the double jump works, and they even put in science, admittedly bullshit made up science from its own universe, is amazing to me. So many games just put it in and never explain it. The idea they felt compelled to explain how all this shit works. The field drone, often referred to as droppers, these drones were developed by the USC to autonomously receive and deliver ordered parts to engineers. So they even explain why they're all carrying weapon upgrades. Arjun Energy, here we go. Early in the development of Argent Accumulator, it was discovered that Argent plasma compressed into Hayden radius spheres, named after Samuel Hayden, would retain its structure when charged with enough radioactive isotopes. Once formed, if the surface tension of the plasma sphere is broken, the energy cache contained within will quickly discharge, energizing anything it comes into contact with. Argent caches were the forerunner of the Argent Accumulator, but their vulnerability to blunt force makes their use too unpredictable. There are still hundreds of these prototype Argent caches. I'm going to keep saying it either way. It's either cache or cache. So as long as I save both, I'll be alright, because then I piss off everyone. So we found around the Argent facility and become somewhat of a collector's item among UAC employees. Should you find an Argent cache, please report your findings to your departmental enforcer. And it says there, look, when you grab it, it overcharges whatever it is, which is why it overcharges the Praetor Suit. Mega health! This stimulant is the first, and so far, only successful fusion of USC technology and the arcane science behind Argent stimulants. When consumed, it bestows additional stamina and endurance on the user, effectively giving them more life. This effect is achieved by first vaporizing and then ionizing an adrenaline solution, which is then injected into a demagnetized Argent stimulant. As the resulting concoction is extremely volatile, the product must be absorbed immediately to avoid combustion. It is notable that this stimulant can be administered to humans successfully, although it does shorten overall lifespan. Attempts to administer the solution to demons have proved unsuccessful. The demon suffers agonizing death moments after ingestion. And they felt the need to explain what Mega Health is. And the Elite Guards here. The Elite Guards are a company of security personnel charged with protecting the Lazarus Project, research, maintenance, and order throughout the Argent facility. Their distinct red uniforms help distill a calming influence among UAC employees, and they are known to be level-headed, disciplined, and fair, but firm. Their suits contain cybernetic augmentations which give the Elite Guards an advantage should they need to quell any disturbances. The augmentation allows them to be faster, stronger, and more resilient to injury. Gore nests. I love these. Studies of demons entering this dimension have shown that their conduct is not purely vindictive. There is a method behind their actions. When a demon captures their prey, their fresh kill is taken to a temporary ceremonial site where arcane rituals are performed on the pile of blood and gore. When enough corpses have been gathered, the ceremonial site becomes a gore nest. These sites, imbued with hell energy from the rituals, act as umbilical cords to hell. Extreme caution must be taken when approaching a gore nest. Attacking the nest, or indeed any demon within close proximity, will act as an alarm and siphon more demons from hell. And I love it. I love it. It's so fucking... everything in this world is so metal. And we have here the 3 members of UAC that actually matter. Olivia Pierce, Samuel Hayden, Vega. Olivia Pierce. Olivia Pierce is the head of biochemical research, or the head of biochemical research, I should say, at the Argent facility. Educated in Strasbourg with a first-class honours degree in biomechanics and genetics, she joined her former mentor, Samuel Hayden, on Mars to head up the Lazarus Project. A few months after arriving at Argent facility, Olivia was diagnosed with acute idiopathic scoliosis. The cause of this deformation is unknown. Given the option of being permanently in a wheelchair, or permanently wheelchair bound, or undergoing an experimental augmentation procedure, Olivia chose the surgery. After several months in seclusion, Olivia appeared on her feet with a new titanium exoskeleton grafted onto her spinal column. Although the exoskeleton allows Olivia to stand and move around, it causes her excruciating pain. Olivia refuses any pain management medication for fear it will cloud her mind. So this thing just caused like agony forever. Now the next section. Samuel saw Olivia as a protege. He sponsored her during her formal education and was the driving force behind her promotion to the Global Science Council. Olivia made her fortune as one of the founders of Nanostruct Aerospace and Defense Systems, in part thanks to a sizable donation from Samuel. Olivia's career blossomed, and Samuel eventually offered her the freedom to design and run her own cutting-edge laboratory by joining UAC. Olivia refused, citing that she had no interest in the energy business. When Olivia did finally leave Nanostruct, it came as a shock to the scientific community. She relinquished a position of sizable power and control to work at an isolated outpost 140 million miles from Earth. A former colleague of Olivia's at Nanostruct stated that Samuel sent her an artifact recovered near the Archen fracture, which after she became obsessed with joining the UAC. A few weeks later, she accepted an offer and became the leader of the Lazarus Project. And there it is. She got sent something from hell. Samuel's like, have you seen this shit? Look how cool it is. And she's like, I need to know. And then finally, before joining the UAC, Olivia was open to discussion about her endeavours and beliefs. She was known to be an avid world traveller, served a 2-year tour of duty at the Global Science Council, and even spent time serving as a missionary in South America, which she noted as a spiritual but frivolous pilgrimage. Since moving to Mars, she became a recluse, cutting off friends and family to focus on her secretive work on the Lazarus Project. She is rarely seen outside of the lab and no longer attends board meetings or any UAC press events. Past colleagues of Olivia's have noted that this behaviour may just mean that she has something spectacular to reveal in the near future. Yeah, getting wrecked by hell. Fucking wrecked. And then we have Samuel Hayden, and this is probably the coolest one in the game. Samuel Hayden is the chairman of UAC. Born into the wealthy and powerful Hayden family, he committed his master's in theoretical physics at Oxford University. He showed prodigious talent in several fields, including thermodynamics, electromagnetic theory, and the nuclear sciences. At a young age, he established the Samuel Hayden Foundation, a philanthropic organisation dedicated to sponsoring young scientific talent and funding scientific programs in schools. His daunting intellect made him a prime target for the UAC, and they recruited him soon after. He was appointed General Director of the Global Science Council. Samuel took over the leadership of the UAC a few months after the discovery of the Archen fracture and immediately put the Archen Tower into production. During the construction of the Archen Tower, Samuel was diagnosed with stage 4 inoperable brain cancer. Samuel was given 6 months to live. He dedicated his last few months to find a radical solution to his mortality: cybernetic transference. So we have here, and that's so he just fuck it, I'm a robot now. Before Samuel Hayden died, in quotation marks, he completed a detailed instructions and designs for a new body, a bionic automaton with plasmatronic processing core, a biomechanical brain, in layman's terms. Samuel instructed that his frontal and temporal lobes were supposed to remain intact, but the functions of his parietal and occipital lobes were to be bypassed and networked to a plasmatronic core. Samuel's personalities, memories, reasoning and comprehension will be carried over to his new framework, but his perception and calculation will become supercharged. Powered by Argent caches and later by an Argent accumulator, the cybernetic transference was a success. Samuel returned bigger, stronger and more formidable than before, in a 3-meter tall mechanical body. When his decision to choose such a mammoth mechanical physique was questioned, Samuel responded, this quote's so fucking metal, "Dictating the future of mankind is dangerous work. You may never know when we need a hero." Spoilers, he gets fucking wrecked in the next game. Stem cells and neural conditioning agents keep his organic matter, specifically his brain, constantly rejuvenating. He has existed for over 130 years now, and it's presumed that his lifespan will be indefinite. Spoilers, no it's not. It is said that his body has long since passed, but his soul will live on forever. And then finally, after his rebirth, Samuel was appointed project director of the Archen facility. It was deemed too bizarre to have the world's first cyborg lead the most powerful corporation in the solar system. Mechanized Samuel Hayden proved to be an even more impressive figure than his mortal self. Under his leadership, Argent technology exploded, and the world achieved the Argent facility, destroyed the boundaries of our understanding of physics. As Samuel himself said, we rewrote the book and called it Argent. After the unveiling of the global energy distribution matrix, it was clear who was really in control of the UAC. Samuel Hayden's triumphant return to power was complete in a stunning display of bravado and conceit. When a GEDM was finally switched on, Samuel Hayden was live streamed from in front of the Argent Tower, pulling a massive 12-foot tall power level to dispatch the first Argent packet to Earth. This sent a clear message to the people of the known solar system: there is only one man that can turn on the power. And the idea that as a fucking flex, he turned on the light switch for Earth on a live stream video on Twitch and was like, fuck y'all. Now I have here Vega. Running the Argent facility takes a lot of power, not just electronic and mechanical power, but computational power. With so many interdependent systems feeding off a single power source, the UAC decided it would need to create a central mainframe computer to manage not only the flow of Argent energy, but the day-to-day operations of the facility with over 60,000 employees. This mega computer, the brainchild of Samuel Hayden, head of the UAC, would exceed the computational ability of any system before it, and more importantly, we recognise the first truly autonomous artificial intelligence entity. They named it Vega. Vega is an acronym. Though the exact meaning has not been revealed by Hayden or the UAC, once named, it was decided that the AI would need to be given a personality to make interactions more agreeable. A gender was assigned, male, a virtual age was established, 50 years old, and a colloquial speech pattern implemented. As such, speaking to Vega is a calming and pleasant affair. A blind study was conducted with computer science students to see if Vega could pass the Turing test. The students were instructed to ask a series of questions to both Vega, via satellite link, and a mathematics professor from MIT to see if they could tell which one was a computer. 92% of the students thought they were both human. Only 8% detected that Vega was a computer. Vega also played the professor. It's like, oh, that's so fucking cool. That's so fucking baller. And that's why this can't be true ASMR. I'm getting too hype. I'm too fucking hype doing this shit. And now we have, it's the weapons section. Fucking too right. BFG 9000. When correctly charged, ionized, and compressed, deadly packets of Arjun energy can be released in a controlled manner at a velocity and potential energy quota far exceeding any conventional weapon. The weaponization of Arjun energy led to the development and mass production of the plasma rifle, but the UAC realized they were capable of much, much more. The BFG 9000 is the culmination of those efforts. Only one prototype of the final weapon exists and is housed deep with the Arc in the BFG division. This weapon delivers streams of supercharged Argent energy to multiple targets. It is to some extent self-guiding. The streams will seek any cache of Argent it can find, usually demons or human test subjects that have had Argent beacons surgically implanted. When the streams find their target, they release all of their stored energy in a fraction of a second, delivering an electronic shock that instantly boils the blood and fatty tissues of the recipient. Spontaneous explosion of the subject often follows. So the BFG 9000 launches a beam of energy that instantly causes demons to melt. And I've noticed that we're starting to run a bit low on time, so I'm just going to go like the first couple of all of these. Chain gun. The Delta 12 chain gun, often referred to as D12 by operatives, is a high-velocity weapon capable of suppressing multiple targets at once. Recent changes in the firing mechanism have pushed the Delta 12 to the physical limits of a ballistic weapon. An Argent-infused piston compresses gas within the firing crucible of over 220,000 psi, and releases launches a 15mm tungsten slug with a muzzle velocity of nearly 5,000 feet per second. The heat generated by this action is siphoned into a thermal gel compound that automatically recharges the 96-volt battery pack. This allows the weapon to sustain on an almost endless firing cycle, as long as ammunition is present. The Delta 12 chain gun weighs 45 kilos, making it a lethal, if cumbersome, armament. The chainsaw. There have been a few reports this item being seen at the Archen facility, though there are no known uses for it. Security personnel have made aware this item is likely smuggled onto Mars and have been directed to confiscate it immediately, as there are no practical uses for it. It must be assumed that this weapon is considered a black market enthusiast weapon. The super shotgun. Well, this weapon has been removed from the UAC's approved weapon act. Why? It's called the super shotgun. Many veteran operators insist there is no better alternative for close combat. It offers incomparable destructive power at extremely close ranges, but it's completely ineffective at long range. This weapon is light and small, making it a favoured secondary weapon that no self-respecting combat specialist would ever be seen without. The Gauss Cannon. The Gauss accelerator design has been used by the USC as a basis for numerous industrial projects over the years, such as the Argent Tower itself and the ore diggers found on Deimos and Phobos. With very few moving parts, the Gauss Cannon makes a reliable, powerful weapon. By accelerating the steel fletchets through a magnetized chamber, extremely high velocities can be achieved. The weapon has near perfect accuracy thanks to the aerodynamic design of the projectiles. Ammunition is cheap and readily available, and designed to maintain its composition when passing through organic material. The Gauss Cannon has a noticeable kick that must be compensated for by the operator. The Heavy Assault Rifle. Though recently superseded by the Plasma Rifle, the UAC's standard issue weapon, Heavy Assault Rifle, is still in widespread use due to dependable mechanical firing mechanism, high accuracy at long ranges, and the abundant supply of ammunition. The weapon is effective at all engagement distances and best used against a solitary target, unless the micro-missile modification is present. Standard issue ammunition is a 50 caliber full metal jacket round. Who cares about the fucking pistol? Plasma Rifle! The Plasma Rifle has become standard issue for military units with the advent of Argent-powered electromagnetic accelerators based off the HIPGD design of the early 21st century. This weapon delivers a rapid salvo of plasmoids that inflict both impact and thermal damage to the target. Plasmoids. Fucking plasmoids. Rocket launcher. Or, if you're playing Metal Slug, rocket launcher. This weapon has seen little design modifications in its development in the late 21st century. It is standard issue to heavy weapons specialists in all military forces due to its unparalleled direct impact and radius damage. The USC improved design slightly by adding an automated quick reload. The weapon's casing has been retrofitted to accept UAC developed modifications. Combat fucking shotgun. The UAC shotgun displays a spread of high velocity buckshot for maximum impact against the enemy. Ideally suited for the operative who requires a steady response for deadly close encounters, the wide coverage of this weapon loses impact at long ranges. The weapon is forged from high quality titanium steel alloy to ensure maximum reliability, repeat rate, and yield strength. And then the Cyclone Grenade, because, you know, this is some like cool ass hell shit. The Cyclone Grenade was designed to work with the Doom Marine's Praetor Suit, specifically to make use of the Argent receptors found in the glove and chest plates. The grenade has 3 stages. When primed, the grenade releases a positively charged particle field around itself and the operator's hand. Then, when the grenade is released and explodes, it releases a negatively charged particle field over a distance of a few meters. The negatively charged particles attract Argent plasma from any demon caught in the radius, tearing the plasma from their cells. Finally, the positively charged Praetor Suit then attracts the negatively charged Argent cloud and gathers the plasma. This siphons energy back into the suit, partially healing the Doom Marine. So it rips the hell energy out of demon cells and gives it to yourself. And I don't care about the grenades. So we want to move on to the fucking monsters. We've got all this cool ass shit. Summoner. The Summoner, a cunning adversary, is primarily a defensive summoning unit as the demon horde swarms the enemy. The Summoner sustains the battle by opening a rift to hell and calling forth reinforcements. To prevent being overrun by the relentless horde, the Summoner should be a primary target in any battle strategy. When directly challenged in combat, the Summoner is capable of channeling hell energy into an Argent wave. Although this wave kills most humans, an occasional victim will be transformed into the Possessed. Surviving an Argent wave attack is extremely unlikely, but does not appear to be random. There is evidence that the Summoner selects the most resilient of combatants for induction into the armies of hell. And then we get like the real shit. The Lazarus Project has managed to successfully capture several Summoner demons. The imprisonment process requires careful preparation, as a Summoner will immediately launch multiple Argent wave attacks when trapped. To prevent this, hell energy must be continually drained from the demon until it is sufficiently sedated. Anatomical study of the Summoner suggests it is a highly evolved subgenus of the imp form. And the Baron of... Look how fucking cool this is! The Baron of Hell is the highest demon among the Orders of Hell Knights. They rarely leave Hell, and no Baron of Hell has yet been captured by any of the tethering operations. Details regarding their behaviour and physiology are therefore, understandably, limited. The decode. It is clear that the Barons are ferocious fighters with a bloodlust unparalleled by any other demon. Barons, larger and faster than their lesser brothers, also possess the ability to generate hell energy fireballs which can be hurled at the target. In the Doom Project Lazarus manned expedition, it is believed that most of the explorers were set upon by Barons of Hell, but the details are unclear. Tablets retrieved from the Great Step in the UAC Automated Survey of 2143 suggest that the Barons of Hell are the current Royal Guards of the unknown Dark Lord of the Fourth Age. While the nature of this entity is unknown, it was presumed that as the Royal Guards' power significantly increased, so too has the power of their master. Cacodemon. Cacodemons are monstrous, psionic demons driven by the desire to feed. They display limited intelligence but are often sent into the fray as their natural size abilities make them an intimidating weapon for the demon horde. And then we have the Cyber Demon. Considered to be the most significant marker of success in the development of Arjun organic research, the Cyber Demon is the flagship creation of the Lazarus Project. The symbiotic union of a Balagar demon found in the second Project Lazarus manned expedition and an Argent accumulator, this beast is capable of withstanding so much punishment that the creature must be kept in permanent suspended animation. Repeated attempts to subdue the beast prove unsuccessful, as when exhausted, the Cyber Demon simply replenishes its life force from the accumulator and attacks again with greater ferocity. Only by removing the Argent implant can the beast be restrained. The Cyber Demon remains in stasis until a suitable method of control can be found. So they built something so powerful they can't control it. And we have a second report here. During the Cyber Demon reanimation project, the beast was kept alive by controlling the amount of plasmatic energy it received. This kept the beast in an effectively brain-dead state, while additional components were cybernetically implanted. A neural pathway was created between the creature's brain and the Argent accumulator, allowing the creature to administer Argent power to any part of its body. In hindsight, this neural pathway was a mistake, as once the pathway was activated, the dormant beast immediately administered an Argent surge to the medulla oblongata, which allowed it to restore motor function. Once active, the circulatory system quickly restored, and the beast achieved full motor function within a few minutes. It is only through the bravery of Follower Jacobson that the beast was contained. Follower Jacobson willingly gave his life as bait when he lured the giant cyber demon into holding pen 6, where it could be contained. Unfortunately, there was no way to retrieve Jacobson's body once the doors had been bolted and he was sacrificed. A report following the incident suggested that this act was not instinct by the cyber demon, but rather a suggestion of greater intelligence, governing the will of any creature demon-born, a mastermind of sorts. Research on this theory continues. Like, the idea that the literal instant they gave it the ability to use Arjun Energy to fuel itself, it woke up and killed everybody. And they were still like, let's study it more though to see what's going on. The Hell Knight. The Hell Knight is a towering brute bred for combat deep in the bowels of hell. These diabolical beasts are the prized gladiators of the demon horde. They relentlessly stomp towards their target, smashing their massive fists into the ground, create shockwaves that stagger their opponents, and leave them vulnerable to bone-crushing melee attacks. The Hell Knight's powerful legs allow it to leap across large distances, effortlessly and quickly closing the gap to its enemy. Tablets retrieved from the Great Step in the UAC Automated Survey of 2143 suggests that the Hell Knights originally flanked the Great Serpent during the First Age. After their master was defeated by the Guardian of the Hell Knights, they were placed in the arenas of Hell, where they would feed on any victim thrown to them by the demon overlords as sport. It is now believed that they guard the most sacred and important relics in the Netherworld. Imp. These ferocious and agile demons are found all over Hell. They're often used on the front line as concerted attacks in either dimension. They revel in battle, feeding off their victim when the hunger takes them. Despite their low status among the demon ranks and their seemingly endless numbers, imps have unique characteristics in battle. Some prefer fighting from an elevated position, while others will rush their target and swipe at them with their razor-sharp claws. Walls and obstacles offer no defense against imps, as they will leap great heights and easily hang from almost any surface. The imp is capable of channeling hell energy through its hands and shaping it into a projectile. As the imp channels this energy, airborne particles and debris are sucked into a maelstrom to create a condensed, superheated fireball. The mechanics of the imp's range attacks they're actually a lower form of the summoner. Lost Soul. And these guys are fucking rough. This is like the roughest description of any enemy in this game. These demons are found wandering aimlessly within the temples of hell as they search for a host to inhabit. When a potential victim is found, they will converge on the target and explode with a blast of hell energy. Lesser will beings, weakened by the explosion, will then be possessed by the demon, and the host's soul becomes lost in turn. Tablets retrieved from the cortex suggest that lost souls are considered the lowest of the demons, even lower than the imps. Since the wandering nomads, doomed to forever roam the halls of hell, thrive on the weakest entities, lost souls are despised by other demons despite their lowly status. They should not be underestimated. It's like these are the lowest of the low. They are the absolute shittest, most just Z tier of demons. The Mancubus. The Mancubus is a towering, lumbering behemoth demon. A foul odour accompanies its presence, a stench that can be overwhelming if inhaled directly. Mancubi gorge on anything they can find and are not adverse to eating rancid flesh. The diet rots in their digestive system, making their innards highly flammable. These foul creatures are decked in light armour. When they reach maturity with their grotesque frames, it outgrows the armour, exposing their stomach and face. And then you have just the flame one, which is where they just attach guns to them, and then the poison one, which is crazy. Pinkies! These demonic animals are unnamed by those in hell. They're colloquially named Pinkies due to their unusual skin pigmentation when discovered by the Lazarus Project's tethering operation. Their aggressive nature against the living is well documented. So they even explain why Pinkies are called Pinkies. Pinkies will charge once their prey is detected, using a cortical bone plate that covers their face as a battering ram. They accelerate quickly and have limited control when charging. Their inability to stop quickly or turn makes them vulnerable to charging over ledges or into hard surfaces. That's a system that should be in the game. You should be able to lure them off the edge of levels. And they have limited visual perception, rely primarily on pheromone detection to locate enemies. The thinner skin on their flanks does not offer much protection and should be considered a point of weakness. Nord carcass of Pinkies have been detected and extracted from portals, suggesting that they are... Try it again. Nord carcasses of Pinkies have been extracted from portals, suggesting that they are considered a delicacy in hell. Which means that people eat them. Revenant, yeah! So Revenants are UAC military operatives that have been methodically transformed into demonic combatants through cybernetic augmentation and repeated Lazarus wave exposure. The transformation begins by attaching a multiple launch rocket battery onto each of the shoulders of the patient, coupled with an Argent charged neural biochip implanted at the base of the cerebral cortex. The MLRB allows the Revenant to both attack its target with multiple conventional rockets and also find mobility boosters located under each MLRB. And this is where it gets rough. The MLRB implant operation is conducted while the patient is in an ante-mortem state and without anaesthesia, as it is imperative that the patient develops neural recognition of the augments before expiration. Once a neural connection with the implants has been established, the patient is repeatedly exposed to Lazarus wave energy blasts to induce death and transform the subject into the Revenant. As with Hell Soldiers, Revenants exhibit advanced combat tactics that includes rage control, vertical combat, and rush tactics. And this is really rough. During initial development of the Revenant program, a curious side effect of the Lazarus wave project, or Lazarus wave energy, was discovered. The Arjun energy held within the plasmatic isotopes of the Lazarus wave mutates oceanin proteins, resulting in rapid skeletal growth. The expansion of the bones matter results in an avulsion of the skin and connective tissues. The flesh is literally torn from the bones. As the skeleton continues to grow, the exposed internal organs begin to decompose. After several weeks of intense pain for the patient, so they're alive when this happens. So people who are turned into Revenants feel their own bones grow as their flesh and muscle sinew is torn apart. So resulting in a 3-meter beast comprising primarily of bone. The height varies depending on the patient's original physiology. Despite its bizarre biological structure, the Revenant appears to bear no ill effects. So yeah. Just imagine now lying there and feeling your own bones just snap over and over again for 3 weeks straight. Possessed Soldier. While Lazarus wave exposure does effectively wipe any vestige of human behaviour for most of its victims, some subjects continue to display tactical cognizance posthumously. As with Possessed Engineers, this does not appear to be random. If an individual has training in combat as part of the UAC military, the Lazarus wave event will transform into more than mere slaves. This anomaly further supports the view that there is some form of genetic coding embedded within the Lazarus wave particles, which governs the outcome of Lazarus wave exposure on a per-case basis. Then we have just the Spider Mastermind, because Olivia Pierce is in that. The first Project Lazarus tethering operation retrieved a small compendium from the Umbral Plains in the crypt of the destroyed Tower of Unknown Construction. Artifact reference PLE2M2, or M8. So I think that's a reference to the first Doom wave encounter on this thing. This Vade Mecham was mostly illegible, but it did contain one of the rare references to the Ariana Imperatrix, a mystical demon that is still largely unknown. When the gate is open in the 4th age, when we have risen and the masters have shown us the path, she will come. A great blessing will be given to the key holder, for they will become one with the master. And in that holy union, the power of the dark priest will be unleashed upon the heretics in the penumbral plane. The Ariana Imperatrix, carried in the mind of all who follow, fed from the blood of those who fell, made with bone of rock, iron, steel, and sinew, a mighty god to rule over other gods. One becomes two, become legion. And this is why Olivia Pierce was like, maybe I should get in on this, because she thought she was going to become a god, and it's like, no, you're going to get grafted to the anus of a giant spider. Hellguards! The borderlands between the Titans realm and the Great State is home to one of the most ferocious demons yet found, the Biomech Hellguard. While there's been no direct human contact with the beast, it was discovered by scout bots during the second Project Lazarus tethering operation. Confronting this demon signalled the end of the expedition, but the scout bots did manage to send data to the relay beacons before they were destroyed. As detailed study of the few video frames that were captured before the equipment was destroyed revealed that the Hellguard is actually a parasite housed within the bone and keratin exoskeleton. The parasite, imbued with enormous quantities of Hell energy, provides power to the Hellguard and controls its actions entirely. Before entering the exoskeleton, the Hellguard exoskeleton is a lifeless husk. Attempts to retrieve the parasite alone are proved fruitless, as the uncoupled demon is too weak to survive passage between dimensions. Once coupled, however, the demon presents a daunting and relentless enemy. And then we just have like these guys who they suck ass. These guys suck ass. But the Unwilling, these are rough because the Unwilling are fully transformed possessed that have been transported to hell to serve as shrine worshippers, slave labour for higher level demons, or cannon fodder. That's the words. Like, all these ones are super rough. These are just regular people. These are just regular fucking dudes that we just experimented on. Yeah, the Spectre. The Spectre is the unfortunate result of a misguided attempt to genetically modify the Pinky. Several Pinkies were gathered during the first Lazarus Project tethering operation. 4 of the captured beasts were vivisected, while 3 of these experiments resulted in the death of the subjects. One resulted in a Pinky with limited psionic abilities. In an attempt to increase its ocular capacity, the optic nerves of a cacodemon were transplanted into the Pinky. After the operation, the animal was returned to its enclosure. It is believed that the beast was accidentally released from its pen when its keeper, thinking that the invisible Spectre had escaped, opened the gate. So Jurassic Park must have ripped this off. Several months after the first Spectre went missing, the second tethering operation captured 2 fertile specimens, presumably the original Spectre, wandered into the Lazarus Wave testing facility and was transported back to Hell by a summoner. It is unknown how the Spectre managed to breed, but the sonic trait has been carried by the offspring. So they accidentally created a Super Pinky that escaped and then went to Hell and started getting its fuck on. And I love that. And then we've got artifacts here, and there's a lot of them. So we're going to go quickly through, and we're going to end on the one that's just obviously the Doom fucking Marine. Because the rest of them, like, you know, there's a whole bunch of bullshit. We're going to go through these. Berserk. So they, like, as mentioned in the playthrough, they do explain how the power-ups work, and they're metal as fuck. Test subjects exposed to this sphere exhibit extreme rage and increased strength. It's been noted by subjects given the Berserk sphere will vent their rage on any living creature they can find, and will even self-harm if they have no outlet for their fury. In the extremely rare case that a subject survives exposure, they will be left in a perpetual state of delirium and should be exterminated. So a normal human subjected to this will tear themselves apart, literally, just because they're so angry. And they're so dangerous that it is advised to immediately kill them. Doom Guy can use this and he feels fine. Haste. This sphere invigorates the imbiber with lightning speed. Once broken, this sphere releases a charged cloud of soul breaker energy, which forms a powerful, albeit brief, exoskeleton that charges and accelerates all natural movement. While the effects are brief, the speed that a hastened subject can reach is breathtaking. The heart rate also increases dramatically, ultimately resulting in myocardial rupture. The heart, quite literally, explodes. So again, normal humans can use this and they die. And that's how OP, like Doom Guy can just use this every day. Invulnerability. When it's absorbed, this stimulant diffuses Argent plasma to the basal layer below the dermis, creating a tough film, I should say, of bioplasma beneath the skin that protects the user from external attacks. This can make the demon almost entirely invulnerable until the plasma has been dissipated through repeated punishment. The bioplasma comes into direct contact with the nerve cells beneath the skin, which causes excruciating pain throughout the process. This increases the likelihood that, in the throes of agonizing torment, the mindless demon will try to attack targets that are clearly beyond their ability. And again, Doom Guy can use this and suffer no adverse ill effects, when even the demonic hordes of hell are just in a perpetual state of just agony. Quad damage. Once ingested, the subject effectively becomes a host for what was presumed to be the most powerful of UI Thrank's demons. Any weapon held by the subject is enhanced, giving up to 4 times as much projectile force and ballistic power. Though the effects are short-lived, they can be devastating. During the initial testing phase, patient C132, a volunteer Tier 2 advocate, managed to decapitate 3 security personnel using nothing more than a pocket knife. And again, it's like, if someone asked me, like, do you want to hold this powerful purple sphere? I'd be tempted. If that's like, can I be in a medical textbook? And finally, but not least, last but not least, the Doom Marine, which I did make sure I got all the information on. Additional relics were found in the tomb alongside the Doom Marine, some incantation tablets, and an ancient combat suit, which was given the name the Praetor Suit when found. It was encased in an inscribed stone tomb. The suit was extracted from the rock, cleansed, and subjected to numerous tolerance tests, and found to be almost impervious to any lasting damage. It appeared to have some mechanical function as well. Small resets on the gloves and chest plate that attracted Argent plasma and dissipated it through the capillary tubes in the substructure. So that explains how Doom Guy can get health by ripping demons apart. Do that thing of like, oh, why does Doom Guy get health back when he rips a demon in half? Right there. His suit contains things that absorb Arjun energy in its hands. So when he physically rips a demon apart, he's absorbing its own Argent life force into himself. Markings on the armour were also consistent with images of a man or humanoid seen in several other tablets and stones found on other expeditions. The same markings were also noted on the Helix Stone. Despite it being clear that the suit can be activated in some way, no method has been found to it. It appears to be missing a component, likely the Doom Marine himself. And then finally, look at that fucking image. Look how metal that shit. Look at that. That needs to be a fucking one poster. Right now. Without a doubt, the UAC's most remarkable recent discovery was uncovered in its expedition to Hell's Candigia Sanctum. After several kilometres through nearly impassable terrain, the team discovered a sealed tomb. Its entrance and walls covered in protective runes and imprisonment incantations. Once opened, the tomb revealed many artifacts, including the Praetor Suit. Most notable, however, was an enormous sarcophagus bound to the centre bedrock of the tomb with thick iron bands, seemingly anchored to prevent anything from getting in or out. It was initially believed that this sarcophagus must hold a rare or powerful demon, but when later opened it revealed the body of a man. The body was not petrified or decomposed. In fact, he appeared to be only sleeping, despite the fact the bed he lay in seemed millennia old. Attempts to wake the man were fruitless, and to harm him even more so, as a protective Argent barrier around the body kept him safe from harm and in permanent stasis. UAC archivists catalogued the discovery DM15, but project personnel soon dubbed him the Doom Marine. While the history of this man remains conjecture, the Helix Stone, as well as other artifacts found in the Argent Fracture and during the Hell expedition of ECM13, have shed some light on his identity. An etching in the Book of Deva, another discovery of the Candigia expedition, depicts the Doom Marine wearing the Praetor Suit, engaging demons in a battle as a hooded figure looks on. This image has been previously observed numerous times in other artifacts, but only with the actual discovery of the Doom Marine and Praetor Suit in the sealed Candigia tomb have research begun to put the pieces together. It is now believed that the Doom Marine might have been part of an ancient tribe or group, maybe even their leader. Whether he is god, demon or human remains undetermined until the Argent barrier protecting his body can be deactivated. Further deepening the mystery of his origin, UAC remote monitoring drones in service during the Candigia expedition record a protracted and deadly battle during the sarcophagus' extraction. The demons attempted to defend the tomb with an instinctual ferocity previously unobserved. So that means Doom Guy is so fucking metal and tough, the demons literally could not kill him while he was lying naked on a stone tablet. Because he's so angry, just hell itself cannot hurt him. And they were so scared, because he's too OP, that they fought to stop people getting his coffin. Once tethered and returned to UAC, the sarcophagus was studied and first opened at Lazarus Labs, but went missing a few weeks later. It was believed that Samuel Hayden had the body and the Praetor Suit moved to a hidden to keep it secure, although why he considered it to be under threat is not known. A final note, to date, the Doom Marine and Samuel Hayden are the only non-demon entities to successfully cross over from the Hell dimension to our own, despite several attempts by other UAC human personnel to do the same. And fucking hell is Doom Guy OP. Like, just for a second, like, can we appreciate that description of him where we found him naked chained to a table and he was just like, no. Like, we tried stabbing him when he was naked and passed out and it didn't work. We don't know what to do. Doom Guy is too good. He's too strong. He is unfucking stoppable. He's just too much man. So that descriptor of man literally too angry to die is accurate for Doom Guy. It's actually, he's too angry, he can't die. Like, the demons of hell slapped him naked under a mountain and he got out 1,000 years later and killed everything in hell again. Also, I fucking love Doom so much, and I apologise that I couldn't go through everything or get like every piece of information, but hopefully someone somewhere out there found that at least a little bit interesting.